It's time. Hey guys, welcome back to Furniture Flipping Teacher. If you're new here, my name is Lauren and I am the Furniture Flipping Teacher. I recently resigned from my full-time job as a kindergarten teacher, and now I am here to show you guys how I take old and outdated furniture and give it a new life and a new purpose. In the process of me recreating this piece of furniture, I hope to inspire a creative way for you guys to also earn a little bit of extra profit. And whether you want to put it toward a student loan debt, or a down payment on a house like Neiman and I are doing, or if you just want to revitalize the furniture in your own home, you're in the right place. Today, we are going to be making over this dresser. It is an old dresser, and I am so excited, you guys, because I am gonna be trying out the Wagner Flexio 4000 the first time. This is my first time with any sprayer, and I'm excited to show you guys and tell you guys what I think about this particular sprayer. Let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the hardware first. It's time. We're breaking out the Wagner Flexio 4000 spray gun. All right, guys, it's been 6 months since we started our YouTube channel, and every single video we get comments that says, why are you not using a sprayer? It would make it go so much faster. Well, the truth is that I know how it's going to take me a little bit of a learning curve to get used to this sprayer, and while I was teaching full-time, I just didn't feel like I had the complete time and attention span to be able to fully pay attention to the process on which this would take me to figure out how to work it. And so I wanted to make sure that I had the utmost time and attention so that I could use this correctly. So I finally am breaking it out. Now that it's summer and now that I'm full-time, I am excited to get the chance to go ahead and break out this Wagner Flexio 4000. Thank you to Wagner for supplying this for me. I am very excited to put it to use and also to show you guys out there how it works. And again, I'm a beginner with it, so I'm sure a lot of you guys are wanting to know how a sprayer works. And so we're gonna kind of do the testing here today with this video. And I'm excited because I'm just now opening it and I'm seeing all of the parts and I'm like, what in the world do I do? But here we go. We've got a hose. We've got the spray gun with the big jar. And then we've got another separate sprayer with the smaller jar. And I know that they also have other attachments that you can grab off of Amazon, and also they have like replacement of these, so if you wanted to use two different containers here, you could do that as well. This is the power for it. And then of course Wagner also sent me a spray tent, which is going to be really helpful in giving me a space to be able to spray so that I don't have to worry about getting the paint overspray on any cars or anything else around. So we'll open that tent in just a minute. Let's figure out how to set this thing up. All right, so like I said, we're gonna go ahead and remove the hardware. Oh, dang it, I always do this. It's flathead. Okay, usually with these older pieces, they've got flathead nails or screws, so that means that you gotta use a flathead screwdriver. All right, I've got the right head there. So now we can go ahead and unscrew them. I'm gonna be replacing the original hardware, so I'm gonna be putting it in one container and keeping all of the parts and pieces that go with it. So I'm gonna be using Dawn dish soap to clean up this one because it is a much more gentle cleaner. It still has that degreaser, but for this one, I'm gonna try to salvage the drawer, one of the drawers. So I just didn't wanna get any of that varnished, the color to come off. So I did the Dawn dish soap for this one instead. And of course, we're cleaning. This has to be your second or first step because it's old, you don't know where it's been, you're gonna be painting it, and so we need to get all of the dirt and dust and grime and oil and grease off. And I know I say it all the time, but prep, you guys, is going to make or break your furniture, because if you don't prep your piece correctly, then the longevity is not gonna be there. There's no year on the back of it, but this is just an old piece. You can tell by the way it was made. The fact that it's on wood, like wood on wood on the sides, there's no slides or anything like that. It just tells you that it's old, probably antique. So now that everything's clean and dry, we're gonna go ahead and sand. You have to sand on a dry surface, so that's why we had to just dry everything off. I'm gonna be using my Surf Prep sander with 120 grit here, and I've got my thicker foam abrasive pad stuck on there because I've got some rounded edges and things like that, and I just wanna be able to do that nicely without damaging any of that. I'm just doing a light scuff sand, which means I'm just going to be roughening up the surface a little bit. The veneer is just a little bit uneven too, so we'll kind of be smoothing that out. So while I was sanding everything down, doing a scuff sand, I also went ahead and took the time to also kind of smooth out these areas right inside. Now I'm not going to be necessarily painting those spots, but I noticed when I was putting the drawers in and out that they were catching a little bit on the sides, and then I know when I add some paint that'll add a little bit of layers, and I've been learning this over time that sometimes you think that it's just gonna slide right in, but those layers and layers of paint that you add adds that much more surface to the drawers and the doors. So I'm gonna try to avoid that at all costs. So I went ahead and sanded everything down around it. So I'm hoping that that'll help cut down on those layers. But now I'm gonna wipe all the dust back and we're gonna be prepping to use the sprayer. Okay, so I picked up this cool little contraption at Menards, but you can also find it at any hardware store. And what it is a little plastic sheet, but it already has tape on the edges. So it's gonna make it really easy to cover the rest of the drawer since I don't wanna get paint anywhere except on the top. Okay, so just gotta find the end. And here it is. So all I'm gonna do is use this and tape it around the edge anywhere where I don't want the paint. So what this is originally made for is for when you're painting walls and you don't want to get the trim, you can just tack it on the top and then roll it out, and then that protects the trim but also a little bit of the carpet. It's actually a really cool invention, whoever invented it. Third drawer wrapped and ready. Okay, I'm not wrapping that drawer because I'm gonna try my best to leave it actually wood. There's just a couple of marks on it that I'm hoping that I'm just gonna be able to scrub off. But if worst comes to worst, I'll just have to go ahead and paint that one as well. I'm kind of just trying to wait. Well, I'm going to wait until I have everything all painted and then put together, and then I'll decide. I know it's kind of a hassle, but I really would like to keep that raw wood look on the top there. So I'm really hoping, cross your fingers, that this is going to be able to work out. So now that we've got the parts that I don't want any paint going on all covered up with plastic, I'm also going to be setting up this tent that's a spray tent meant for exactly this. And it's to just contain the overspray, and it's basically just a basic tent, and it just has an opening here. So you put your furniture inside there. Should be really easy to set up. Hopefully it has some stakes to tack it down because it's a bit breezy, nothing crazy, but. So I was super glad that Wagner also sent this because we have cars in our driveway, and that overspray can get onto those cars. And like you guys have been telling me, even with spray painting, it can damage those cars really easily. So this was a must-have for sure. Oh, it's got stakes, perfect. All right, so it says 5-minute setup, so let's test it. All right, we got the tent set up. A little bit trickier with the wind. We were in a wind tunnel over here, so we came over here. We're all good now, we figured it out. And so we're gonna test out our sprayer. And I'm excited. This Flexio 4000 should make the job go a lot faster. Obviously, the prep work you can see is a lot more than it would be if I could just paint. I might already have it done by now. But I think in the long run, once we get the gist down and the flow going, it will actually cut down on time. I am going to be using Behr chalk paint in the color called Timeless. And it's a blue color, it's like a navy blue. And so I am going to be pouring this into my spray canister here. And then with a sprayer, you always want to water it down. So not a ton watered down, but a good enough consistency so that it goes through the nozzle correctly. And then you always want to test it out. I'm acting like I've done this before, which I haven't, but I have seen tons of people do it before, and so I'm just kind of using what they've learned and things like that to help me. So I'm just gonna mix this around, make sure everything is all mixed up. So I put these on my Amazon wish list. So someone actually got me a whole pack of them, and what it is it's a paint strainer. So it's gonna filter out any type of thing that might be in the paint, like a chunk of something or whatever. And then it's also going to thin it out as well. So it's gonna just go through this really tiny screen and then filter into my cup. I have no idea how much paint I need. So really, we're just winging it when it comes to that. I'd rather put, I guess, a little bit more in there than I would necessarily need. I can always dump it back into the can. Right now, I put in 10 ounces. So I'm doing 10 ounces of water, 10 ounces of paint. My dresser is a 4-drawer chest, so it's not very big. We're gonna put a little bit of water. So again, we don't want it to be too watered down. Just gonna put that over here. We don't want it to be too watered down, but I'm just gonna thin it out a tad bit. And I'm assuming that just like with brushing it on, you'll get to kind of know and understand the feel of how you want your paint, how thin you want it. I probably gave it a little too much water. Okay, I think I'm gonna put a little more paint in there. I'm winging it, you guys, okay? This paint seems to be pretty thin as is, so, you know, I think just a tad bit of water is perfect. But basically, we're ready. Just gotta attach this guy, turn it on, and see what happens. I've got some cardboard swatches that I'm gonna test it out on first, so that way I know how it kind of sprays and what settings I might need it on and so on. So I've got the smaller detailed nozzle on, and I'm gonna go ahead and twist it on here. And then I've also got my mask on. It's the same one I usually use for sanding. It's got those compartments where it has a filter, so it's still filtering the air. I think I'm gonna get one of the ones that has a little bit better filtration system just for like spraying, but right now this will do. So remember, you can spray it if you're going up and down, then you have this up and down because it'll kind of go like that spraying wise, or you can turn it this way and then it'll have your paint go like that. You can make it a tighter setting so it's not gonna spray as much, or you can make it less here, going that way. Yeah, that's kind of all I know about it. So we're just gonna turn it on and give it a shot. We'll adjust our settings as needed. That's why I've got the cardboard. I'm gonna start on the smallest minimum pressure here, and then I might go up from there, but I don't want it to be overpowering. Turn it on. Here we go. First time using the sprayer. I've also got to figure out how far I want to hold it. I know I don't want to do too close because that'll make it drip. Okay, so I think I need a little more pressure. So I turned up the pressure just a little bit because it's not spraying a thick enough pattern. It's just kind of going all over. There's not really numbers on it, so you just kind of got to test it out. Ooh, that's looking better. So if I go really close, it'll probably drip. I'm also going to try to go up and down just to see. So I'm going to spin my nozzle, and then we'll start at the top and go down. Okay. All right, I think I'm ready. Let's just try it. The first coat of the base of the dresser is finished. You guys were right. I love the sprayer. It's nice, it's fun. It just goes on so nicely and it covers so fast, and I feel like it just might have been worth all that extra prep work. I love it. I'm gonna go ahead and do the drawers now and come back with a second coat on that guy here pretty soon because it's basically almost dry. got done with the drawers. I'm gonna check and see how many ounces of paint we've got left in here. Remember, we started with about 10, maybe 5. So only used half, so only used 5 ounces of paint. That's pretty impressive if I do say so myself, especially because I was under the impression that you use more paint when you use a sprayer. So I don't know. Now it kind of seems like I'm gonna be using less. I'll probably need to put a little bit more in here for coat number 2 just to be sure that I've got it and it's gonna go consistently on. But the drawers were just as fun as the actual dresser. You guys are gonna wanna get yourself one of these. It speeds up the process, minus a little bit of prep work. I am gonna have a hard time going back to the brush. We've got a lot of people asking me how I get such smooth finishes with my brush. Well, if you're worried about finishes with your brush, it's looking like this is not gonna have any of those streakiness, or obviously it's not gonna have those brush stroke marks. From what I'm seeing, this is gonna help you eliminate all of those. I'm gonna go ahead and sand this down lightly with an extra fine grit, and that's just going to smooth it out. It's not very rough, but I just wanna make sure it's really smooth before I do coat number 2. So the only downfall about this tent is it's not very big. Big enough to hold my piece, but to get in here and stuff. So I do wish they had a little bit larger one. They've only got this size. We're gonna have to look into something a little bigger so I feel a little more comfortable. Second coat is finished, and again, I'm just loving the way that this looks. It's so smooth. The only thing that I did notice is that by the time I was ready to do that second coat, the nozzle on the very front had already dried, so it wasn't spraying out. So I'll have to just make sure that I don't get all that clogged in there. I know you're supposed to clean them right away, but I wonder, I gotta look and see any information I can find about just in between coats, because I don't want to go clean that in between coats and then have to clean all the time. That's not going to do it for me because I hate cleaning in general. So next is we're just going to let this dry for a little while. It's nice and breezy, nice and sunny, so it shouldn't take a long time, and then we'll come back for the top coat, which I'm also going to attempt to spray on. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and clean this out. I dumped all the extra paint back in the can, so we're not wasting that, but I need to get this cleaned out or else that paint's gonna get dried inside, and we definitely don't want that to happen. So this nozzle part untwists, breaks into some pieces. So it seems to come apart in all of the different spots that are necessary to clean, which is really good, and it even comes with a little bristle brush guy here. And then with that, I can go ahead and clean inside of here. I'm just trying to get everything as clean as possible because again, I don't want any paint drying anywhere and then getting dry and not being able to come off to clean or to put another paint color or product in there. Okay, I think we're good on cleaning, and then we're just gonna dry everything, let everything kind of dry, and then we'll be able to go ahead and put some top coat on. So the process of cleaning the gun wasn't horrible. It just maybe wasn't my favorite thing to do, because you guys know I don't like cleaning brushes out and so on. So this just took a little extra time, but it's not something to deter you away from it. It just is part of the process. So I got it cleaned out, and I'm definitely gonna be getting another base here, container to hold, because that way I can just kind of switch out what I'm using. And so I am ready to apply the top coat. Same as when I'm using a brush and I'm applying the top coat to a darker color, I'm gonna be adding just a little bit of the blue to my top coat, and that's again just gonna really help eliminate any streaking or cloudiness in the top coat. I'm gonna be using the Minwax water-based polyacrylic in clear satin, and this is just gonna go right over the Behr chalk paint. Again, the Behr collection, they've only got wax, so I can't spray wax, so I just am gonna be using what I had on hand already. And thinking about it, I used, you know, I think probably right around 10 ounces or even less than 10 ounces yesterday when I did the blue, and that was for 2 coats. So I think I'm gonna go a little under 10 ounces, and then when I add the blue in, it'll be right around that 10 mark. We'll go ahead and add just a tad bit of the blue here to deepen the color a little bit. It kind of just looks like I'm gonna be applying paint again, really, but it's not, it's top coat. Just get that all nice and stirred around. And then we're gonna reattach our nozzle. And this is the fine finishing nozzle. They've got 3 nozzles. This particular gun came with 2. The other one is more for bigger projects, so I've got an idea of what I might use that for. That's gonna be a later video, and this is gonna be the one that I use for furniture. All right, let's hook it up. Gotta get my mask. We've got our tent set up here again, and we're gonna go for it. Ooh, hot. Okay, well, I like the way that was just so easy to go on, and I learned already that I need to start off of the piece, if that makes sense. So instead of just immediately holding the trigger when I'm at the dresser, I need to start up here and then let it go down. The reason being is because if you start, that's just a lot of pressure right on there, and right where I started, it's dripping. So I'm gonna have to let that dry completely, sand it down, probably, I don't know if I'm gonna need to add a little bit more paint on there. If not, then I'll just go straight with another coat of top coat right there. But other than that little issue, we're looking golden on the first coat of satin top coat. While that first coat of top coat is drying, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the hardware. Now, this is, I think it's plastic, to be honest, like a really heavy duty or plastic. And it's not, to my knowledge, this will not come clean completely, but we're gonna try to just clean it up and just get all those germs off, and then we're gonna see how it looks kind of in its original state with that little bit of an older vibe going for it. And if we don't like it once it's put on the dresser, I might go ahead and spray paint it all to a nice gold. But if it ends up looking okay with the older vibe, then we'll go ahead and keep it like it is. I just got a little bucket of Dawn dish soap and a little scrub brush. I'm going to just kind of scrub off anything that I can, and then rinse and let it dry. Okay, so like I said, they're not really gonna clean up, but at least I know they are clean. I'm thinking that the old look is gonna be a pretty cool vibe to just kind of keep that vintagey look, and with the top drawer gonna stay the brown. I think that that'll kind of just tie everything together, have a tad bit of old look, but still a little bit of a new look. So those have got to dry, and we'll get to coat number 2 on the top coat. Okay, coat number 2 of the top coat is finished, and I just did 2 to make sure I get full coverage of everything. And so we're gonna let that dry now, and then we'll come back and just check everything out, make sure there's no more drip marks. If there is, then I'll have to just fix those up real quick. It actually cleaned up really nice, like I can't even tell that there was drip marks there. Yeah, so that was really easy. It did exactly what I thought, and it evened out the color. So that's another reason that you might want to put a little bit of dab of your color into your top coat, because if you have those mishaps with the drips, it'll just kind of mask it and cover it up. In the meantime, while that's drying, I'm going to do one last thing, and I'm going to check out the front of the solid wood drawer, the raw that I kept, the one that goes in the top. I just want to maybe put some hemp oil on it and kind of freshen it up a little bit. So I'm just gonna use some hemp oil here, and what this is gonna do is kind of just shine up this front drawer. And this drawer is not in perfect condition, and I was a little bit hesitant on actually using it as a raw drawer, an original, but I think that it just really adds some character. And like I said about the handles, it gives it that extra character that I think someone will really appreciate, because it is the original finish of the drawer. So I'm just gonna lightly go over this with some hemp oil. Nothing too crazy, but just to, again, shine it up, clean it up a bit. And hemp oil also does help protect. So this might help it protect from getting any further damage. And in the meantime, while we're here with the drawer, I'm just gonna go ahead and reattach the original hardware because this one is ready. These are all dry. I'm just gonna be putting them back on there. So we are golden. We are ready to put it all back together. I'm just gonna go ahead and take off the plastic of the dresser and the drawers so that I can go ahead and put the hardware in and insert the drawers. Don't you just love when it all comes together at the end? That is like my favorite part. My vision coming to life. I think that the old handle look is definitely the way to go. I love the original wood. It just looks like such a sleek finish because of that sprayer. Oh, I like it. I like it a lot. I haven't been leaving that wood tone, but I like it. I like it, I like it. Let's get it staged and posted on Facebook Marketplace for sale. So I'm just gonna grab some kind of vintagey, golder things that can help the hardware pop, and I'm just gonna stay pretty simple on this one. I think we're ready, nice and simple. Got a little pop of green up there, ready for some photos. So I got all the photos taken, staged and unstaged. Of course, we want to do all those details, things like that. And then now we're going to grab some dimensions, because you know you need to post those on your listing when you're listing it for sale. Make sure to, just as you're doing a lot of details with your photos, do a lot of details on your listing. I'm going to list this as a vintage solid wood dresser because that's exactly what it is. And you know, it has original hardware, it has some wood. I'm gonna say it's blue, things like that. Just describe it, give them a reason why they need this dresser, where would it look good in their house. I think this would look awesome as a guest room dresser, something like that. Doesn't get used very often, but it's a statement piece in that room. Just a thought, but I might say that in my listing as well. It's been a long time coming for me to use the sprayer, and I think that you can kind of tell that I truly did enjoy using the Wagner Flexio 4000. It's truly an awesome sprayer. It's so easy to use. Everything is laid out. The tent is highly necessary unless you somehow already have a space that you can spray and you don't mind getting it all over. You need to invest in a tent as well, because that helps with overspray. We are not getting it on our cars. We're not worrying about getting on other furniture and different things like that. I'll also link that down below in the description. Thank you guys for finally encouraging me to use a sprayer. I've had it in the garage for a couple of months now, and I'm so excited. And I'm glad that I finally got to break it out this summer, and I can't wait to use it again with some other types of paint. Let's go get this posted. I listed this on Facebook Marketplace for $275, and 6 to 8 hours later, I got a message, and the person was super interested. And there were actually a couple others that were like so interested in it, and they just loved the look. It really gives off that retro vintage vibe, and I think that the people who were interested really loved that. But the first person that reached out ended up giving me a deposit. So for deposits, I like to do right around $100. That way I know that that person is truly going to come, not waste my time. I do preface that it's a non-refundable deposit because I'm not gonna give that money back to them. And the reason being is just because, again, I don't wanna be wasting my time. I don't wanna be holding this dresser and then they flake out or something else like that if I have other people in line. If I don't ask for that deposit, then I could end up getting burned in the end. So I am here getting ready. They're actually about to come and pick it up. So I am getting ready to pour my little touch-up sample to give to the customer. And remember, I used the Behr chalk paint in the color Timeless. So I'll link these little containers down below, but I also have these little stickers that go right on top. And so what I like to do is just label it with the color. So Timeless, blue, and then also I like to do the type of paint. So it's Behr chalk paint. And then I'll go ahead and open it up and pour a little bit in here. Just enough. And I know this doesn't look like a lot, and I tell this to the customer, the buyer, all the time. You know, this doesn't look like a lot of paint, but hopefully the only reason that you would need to ever use it would be if there was a little nick or something got bumped, something like that. So I just pour a tad bit. The customers get so happy when I hand them this. A majority of the time, they don't expect it. So it's just a little extra gesture to kind of let them know that you care and that you know that things might happen in the future, but it also just allows them to see that, you know, if it does get nicked, it's not the end of the world and they can go and touch it up. So they'll be coming here in just a little bit and they'll get it all loaded. Let's talk about the numbers. So remember, I had gotten the original piece for $40 off Facebook Marketplace. Then I ended up getting the Behr chalk paint, and that whole entire thing is $20. But you guys, I didn't even use half of that for this entire piece. So we're gonna call that about $10 in paint materials, and then the top coat, let's say $5. So let's say we're in at around $15 for this piece. So it's 55 piece plus products, and I went ahead and sold it for $275, which gives me a total profit of $220 going straight toward our down payment on a house. So as you know, as I've told you over and over in this video, I absolutely loved using the sprayer. It just sped up things. You know, I think that I'll get way more efficient with the prep time with the sprayer. It just kind of comes with the territory, you know, it kind of evens itself out, if you will. But again, I think as time goes on and I use that more and more, the faster that process will go. And I think that there will be certain projects where I will definitely use the sprayer because there might be bigger projects or things like chairs and spindles, things like that, that, you know, just take longer with a brush. But don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna get my brush out more often than not, but that sprayer is definitely a good tool to have around. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed my first plunge at using the sprayer, and I hope that you maybe want to give it a try. If you do, again, they are all linked down in the description. You guys just try it out. You gotta try something new every once in a while. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you're interested in following us over on Instagram, we are Furniture Flipping Teacher over there just as well. And get subscribed down below. Let me know down in the comments, have you already tried a sprayer? Am I behind the ball game? Do you guys enjoy using a sprayer or a paintbrush if you've tried both? And I would love to hear your comments and your thoughts about a sprayer versus a brush. We'll see you again on Monday and Thursday every week. I'll see you on the flip side.